Hello, gentlemen, and welcome to the Men Save Your Marriage show. My name is Terry. I'm your host. I did an autopsy on my failed marriage, and now I use the lessons that I learned to coach other men on how to save their marriage before it fails. I'm going to share with you the things I wish someone would have shared with me before my marriage failed. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hello, gentlemen, and welcome in. Today's episode is about what really kills intimacy in marriage and how to start rebuilding that from the inside out. Are you ready? You just heard the bell. That means it's time to step into the ring. We are in the ring to fight for your marriage. Welcome back, gentlemen. As you know, my name is Terry, and this is the Men Save Your Marriage podcast. I am excited to have you here today. This is episode number 32, and you heard me ask the question, or say to you, this episode is about what really kills intimacy in marriage. This is episode 32, and today we are kicking off a brand new 10-part series that just might change everything. It's called Rebuilding Intimacy and Emotional Connection. And today we're going to talk about when the fire fades. Because let's be real, if your marriage feels cold, disconnected, and distant, you don't need more tips, do you? No, you need a wake-up call. You need a path forward, and you need to hear this. It is not too late, but the clock is ticking. This episode is about what really kills intimacy in marriage and how to start rebuilding it from the inside out. And just as a spoiler, it does not start in the bedroom. It starts with you. So let's jump into this. As always, I'm thrilled to have you here. I'm going to give you three main points. We're going to dig into each one of those. We're going to keep it short and sweet. We're going to build on this week after week after week for 10 weeks in this series as we talk about how to rebuild intimacy and connection. So point one, the first thing I want to tell you is that the fire didn't die overnight. It faded while you weren't looking. Most guys don't realize intimacy is gone until, quite frankly, it's already dead. It doesn't end with a bang. It just ends kind of almost in a drift. It's the quiet moments. Long days at work, nights on opposite sides of the couch, not tonight turning into not this month. Silence where there used to be connection. You've heard me talk about this before. You know, my own personal marriage, you know, there was a series of 5 or 6 years where it just felt like, rather than husband and wife, she and I felt like we were two soldiers in a foxhole just fighting off the world, shoulder to shoulder, you know, back to back, steady fight. And I could count on her, she could count on me. And by the time we cleared that span of 5 or 6 years, we were two completely different people, and I didn't realize it for another 10 years after that, but we had gone so far different directions in what life had just kind of done to us and how we reacted to it. So these are the little things. Again, it's those quiet moments, those extra hours at work, you know, and I realize life happens and you have to do all of those things. And again, you come back to where, you know, not tonight, I don't feel like it turns into not this month. And the one overarching thing I hear with everybody I talk to is this one word: silence. Silence always seems to creep in. And it's the kind of the little decisions too. Scrolling instead of engaging. You know, you're on your phone or you're on your computer instead of engaging with her. She's on her tablet instead of engaging with you. Missing the shift in her eyes or her tone. Unfortunately, that happens. Only touching her when you want something in return. I will tell you that is one that I hear a lot. Once I've finally earned the trust of a man when we're coaching or we're talking, and some that just seems to be a common theme I've been hearing lately. When I'm being honest, when I actually touch her, it's just because I want something for myself. Asking how she's doing, but not really listening. Does any of this sound familiar? Is any of this striking a chord with you guys? Because to me, it sounds like I'm preaching to the choir when it comes to myself. Remember, this cost me my marriage. Things like this, and I don't want this to happen to you. Before long, you're not lovers. You're barely even friends. You're just roommates with shared bills and kids to raise. And then one day you maybe hear the words that no man ever wants to hear. I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore. Or maybe it sounds like to you, or you may have heard it, or hopefully you haven't, but it may come out as, I feel numb. I had one gentleman tell me that what he heard was, I just don't feel close to you. Listen to me. That didn't happen last week. That is erosion. That is disconnection. That's the death of intimacy, and it's slow and silent and deadly. But here's the good news, guys. If it faded, it can be reignited. So let's step into point number 2. Intimacy is not about sex. It's about safety. Here's where most men get this wrong. You think if we could just have sex again, we'd feel close. She's thinking, if I could just feel close again, then I'd want to have sex. You're not speaking different love languages. You're living in different universes. For her, intimacy equals emotional safety. She needs to know some things. Things like she can speak the truth without getting shut down. You see her heart, not just her body. She needs to know that. She matters even when she's not meeting your expectations. She needs to know that she matters even if she's coming up short right now. And I promise you, she knows she's coming up short. These are the things, guys, I can't stress this enough. These are the things I wish to God somebody would have been telling me 15 years ago. I would still have my marriage today if I would have understood some of these things. If she doesn't feel emotionally safe with you, sex feels forced, pressured almost. Or, worst case scenario maybe, just another task. And sex is just checking a box. Trying to negotiate for more sex without rebuilding trust is like planting seeds on concrete and wondering why nothing grows. So what's the real soil for intimacy? Check out a few of these things, and these are not easy, but here it is. Listening to her and her problems without trying to fix them or going into fix-it mode. Pursuing her heart without an agenda. In other words, pursuing her heart just because, not because I want something in return. Showing up consistently without expecting a gold star. That's a big one. Forget grand gestures. It's the quiet consistency that melts ice. Here's a lesson before we step into point 3. Here's a lesson that I learned way too late, and it would have meant everything. You and I are born as men with this innate desire to be the hero. I don't know about you. For me, it was baseball. I stood in my yard as a kid, and I could close my eyes with a bat in my hand, and I could picture, the scene. I'm in a massive stadium, and it is the World Series, Game 7, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, and I step up to the plate, and I get to be the hero. I have a friend of mine. He said, Terry, for me, I was Lynn Swann catching the touchdown catch for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Super Bowl. I know another fella, and he was telling me in coaching that for him, he was David Beckham taking the perfect soccer shot and scoring the goal, right? We all were the hero in one way or another. And it wasn't until way too late for me that I figured out this, and I'm going to go back to baseball because that's my favorite sport. When I was a kid, I always wanted to strike somebody out or hit the home run. And I realized later, way too late, after my marriage was ruined, that I wanted to be the hero in marriage. I wanted to be her hero. That's why when she had a problem, I wanted to jump in, rip my shirt open, and show off my S for Superman and fix it. She didn't want me to fix it. She just wanted me to listen. And I didn't know that. I didn't understand that. And I also wanted to be the guy that would hit the grand slam home run and be her hero. Okay, so what that looked like for me, we would step into the first of the new year. We'd just come out of the holidays. Her birthday was in January. Sometimes we didn't do a whole lot for her birthday because we had a big holiday. Sometimes I wanted to try to do something special for her birthday because I wanted to set her apart from everything we just experienced with the holidays. So it felt like I could hit a home run in January. And what comes with a good home run in a marriage, and, when you hit one, right? A good home run, maybe there's, the intimacy and the closeness kind of flows for a few weeks, and, and things are good for a little bit. Well, I could do that in January. What's coming around in February? So if I went big again at Valentine's Day, then I could keep that intimacy flowing, right? And then things are busy. It's winter. You get into life, right? Get into April. Guess what? April's my birthday. Well, so then things kind of flow again, and then you get May and June. You get into summer. Maybe you take a little vacation. You get a little intimacy because you're away on vacation, and that's how I went through my entire year. Anniversary's coming around in June, right? And I would go from high to high to high with basically nothing in between. Then I figured out this, and I was taught this in different words, but then I began to relate it to for me in my life, it is just as easy for a baseball team to hit 4 singles. Single, a runner on first. Single, a runner on second and first. Single, a runner on third, second, and first. Single, bases are loaded, and a run has scored. It is much easier to hit 4 singles than it is to hit 1 home run. I believe this now so much so, and I've learned the lesson so much so now that I've lost my marriage, as I try to teach men this, that the name of the parent company, the name of my company is Stacking Singles. Because I am convinced that if I can teach you how to stack singles every day, what was the words that I just used? It's the quiet consistency that melts ice. You just need a single today. You just need to listen to her and not try to fix it. You need to show up without expecting a gold star. You need to give her a hug. You need to make her feel wanted without pursuing it for your own agenda. You need to make her feel safe. This is how you stack singles. And this is how you stack one day after another with that quiet consistency to melt her heart, to reignite the intimacy between you guys. I hope to God I'm explaining this in such a way that it makes sense to you. And if it doesn't, then it's probably my fault. You guys have my phone number, my text number. Text me if it's not making sense to you. But this is very important. All right, moving on. Point number 3. I don't want to keep you too long. I want you to get into your day with all this information. Point number 3, stop waiting and start leading. Here's where most men fail. They wait for her to warm up before they pursue her again. Well, that's not leadership, is it? No, that's passivity. You go first. This is another one I can think back so many times. I wish I would have known and understood this. You go first. Even when she's cold, you go first. Even when she's guarded, you go first. Even when she seems done with you, with the marriage, with all of it, you go first. Now, here's your marching orders. You don't go with desperation, but you go with direction. You go first, not by begging, but by becoming the man who is emotionally grounded. You lead yourself first, and you pursue her without pressure. Stay patient without being passive, and show up like clockwork, not just on special occasions. Remember, stack those singles. She's not pushing you away out of cruelty. She's protecting herself from more pain. I got to highlight that, put it in bold, and say it again. She's not pushing you away out of cruelty. She's protecting herself from more pain. God, I so wish I would have known these things. So here's your job. Create an atmosphere where it's finally safe to come close again. That means you own your mistakes without any excuses. You're healing your own wounds instead of bleeding on her. You're leading with humility and not ego. This is how intimacy is rebuilt. I'm going to run through those one more time. Own your own mistakes without excuse. Heal your wounds instead of bleeding on her. Work on yourself is what I'm trying to say. Lead with humility and not ego. You go first. This is how intimacy is rebuilt. All right, I hope this helps. We're going to wrap this up in just a second and so you can get into your day. But first, I mentioned this in the last episode. It was a special episode. Your marriage isn't where you want it to be. Maybe it's on life support. Maybe the silence in your house is louder than the arguments used to be. Maybe your wife is checked out emotionally. Or maybe you have. Listen, I've been there. You hear me pouring my guts out to you on these episodes and telling you the hard truth about what I didn't know that I wish I would have. So I've been there. And if you're ready to stop watching your marriage die and actually do something about it, I've got something brand new for you. It's called the 7-Day Marriage Reset Challenge. It is completely free. You just need to go to our website, mensaveyourmarriage.com, to get it. Okay, you're going to get a ton of information. There's going to be a PDF download, and then you're going to get a series of 7 emails, one a day. I don't want to overload you with all of it at once, so you're going to get one item a day for you to think on, to think through, to work through, to kind of ponder, and before you move on to the next one. This is a 7-Day Marriage Reset Challenge. Go to mensaveyourmarriage.com/reset. mensaveyourmarriage.com/reset. Do it now. Get this information so you can start thinking through the things I'm teaching you here in this episode and how you can reset your marriage in 7 days. All right, so let's wrap this up, shall we? I want you to understand, fellas, what we're talking about here and in your marriage and the dynamics that are going on, this is sacred ground. We're talking about intimacy here. Real intimacy doesn't explode into your marriage. It is rebuilt in moments. It is a calm tone when she's harsh, or a calm tone when she is excited or exasperated, and you bring that safety, you bring that calm, right? A soft touch without expectation. You're giving her a hug just to give her a hug. You're putting your hand on her shoulder or on her arm, not with any intentions or designs on getting something for yourself. Okay? Just a soft touch with no expectations. Maybe it's a handwritten note that says, I see you. I see the work you're putting in, right? A conversation where she feels safe to tell the truth. And that one, I'll be honest, you may have to dig that one out of her. Maybe there's a moment, and you'll know when it is, you're into a good conversation, and you can almost tell as if she kind of feels guarded. This is your opportunity. This is such a huge opportunity for you to just stop. Hey, listen. I feel as if you got something else you want to say. Maybe you're not sure if you want to say it. I just want you to know, whatever it is, I'm ready to hear it. I'm ready to listen. And just give her the space and see if she's ready to begin to open up. Could you make her feel safe enough to tell you the truth without exploding, without any kind of fight? Just take it in regardless of how you feel about it and just be there for her. Guys, that is a huge win. All right, this is slow work, but it's sacred work, and it starts with you. You're not powerless, you are not stuck, and you are not done unless you choose to be. Become the man she can trust again, and the flame can come back. Not because you pressured her, but because you changed the atmosphere. And you are the only one that can truly change the atmosphere. Remember, you go first. You lead yourself, and you show up for her. That's how you change the atmosphere. All right. If this hits you in the chest today, don't just nod, move on. Subscribe to the podcast. Please give us a 5-star rating and a review if you're so inclined on Apple or iTunes. That would be great. Leave a review, and that's going to help other men find us. And then remember, go to mensaveyourmarriage.com/reset right now and download the 7-day Download the 7-Day Reset Challenge. Do that now. Do not wait. Go sign up for the 7-Day Reset Challenge. Okay? This series is just getting started, and I want to build on this, and I want you to incorporate that 7-day reset challenge into this 10-episode series so that the fire that you had in your marriage that feels like it may have faded, well, you know what? This is just getting started, and that fire may have faded, but it is not out. So go get the reset challenge, listen to these episodes, and here's a final thought. Intimacy does not start with her body. It starts with your presence. Be the man who awakens her heart, not just her desire. Once again, intimacy does not start with her body. It starts with your presence. So be the man that awakens her heart, not just her desire. If you awaken her heart, the desire will follow. Now, let's get to work. Thank you, gentlemen. I look forward to seeing you or talking with you in the next episode. As you know, you can always reach out to me by text. You can message me on the mensaveyourmarriage.com website. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you, and have a great day.